Record. I'm recording now. Forgot to hit the record. I knew I'd forget that. I always forget that. All right, but now we're recording. But if I hit the shape and then change the color to none, I'm going to click on this button that says border. All right, and I'm going to add a border to this shape. Now I'm going to change that border color to red, just so that we can see it. All right, and then again, I can change the size if I want. So now I've got this shape. All right, and again, it doesn't look like that much, but if I copy that shape and paste it, now look what I've got. I've got myself a Venn diagram. And so this was something like, I don't know why I've never tried that or thought about that, but when I saw somebody do that, I was kind of like, wait, I shouldn't even be working for Book Creator. So I was super confused because I'd never seen anybody do that before. But anyway, there you go. Now you can make Venn diagrams and all kinds of other stuff now that you know how to take out the center of your shape. All right, so that's pretty cool. All right, the next thing under the plus button that I would like to discuss is under the media tab. There are so many great things under the media tab. The very first is the import button. And under the import button, the first thing that pops up is a Google image search. All right, and I love the Google image search because one, they're safe search. These are the safest images Google allows. They are all labeled for commercial reuse with modification, and they're all labeled as non-attribution. So these are about as safe as you get. So I'm just going to type in something like dog, and we're going to find an image that we like, and we'll go, oh, these guys look cute here this morning, so we'll click on those ones. Nope, Google doesn't like that image. Sometimes it happens. All right, sometimes you'll go to find a Google image, and if it says it can't upload the file, there's like some random site out there that has images that we don't work with, and that must have been one of them. All right, so there's my dog image. All right, it gets uploaded. If I click on it, I can resize it, move it around the screen. But what I want to focus on here is usually this is where kids stop, right? Usually they're just like, okay, got my image on the screen. But if I click on this image and outline in blue, if I go to the inspector button to the top right, we've got a couple of options that people don't think about or don't see. And one of them is to hyperlink this image to a website, right? So if I put a website address in there, when somebody reads my book, they can now click on the dog and it will take them to a website, all right, which is really cool. So you could further the understanding from your students. The other option is to link it to a specific page. So in this instance, I'm really thinking something like a choose your own adventure story. So at the top of the page, you might have a story. You know, John went to a pet store, saw a couple animals, couldn't decide. Did he want to buy a dog? Did he want to buy a goldfish? If he buys a dog, click on a dog, takes him to page 10. If he buys a goldfish, click on a goldfish, takes him to page 7, right? So a lot of really cool things that you can do with hyperlinking images. I've seen interactive timelines where you have an image on a timeline, and when you click on the timeline, it takes you somewhere and gives you more information about that event. I've seen visual table of contents for students. So if we're tired of all these table of contents, right? It's just nothing but words and numbers. Just put a bunch of cool images in there and say, hey, you want to learn about dogs? Click here. Takes you to the dog chapter. You want to learn about cats? Click here. Takes you to the cat chapter. So those are really awesome. The other thing I wanted to share here is this accessibility text, this alternative text box. This is, again, is a spot that I even admittedly would just ignore for years, right? It wasn't something I would think about. And I would just say, oh yeah, look, cool, I got an image on the page. That's nice, moving on, right? Let's add some text. Let's just keep making a buck. But one of the things that I've realized over the last few years is that as I'm talking to my students about making books for a global audience, if I make books that don't include any accessibility text, then I'm not writing a book for a global audience. And I'm not including as many people as possible who can read that book. And so with the alternative text here, if I put something like white fluffy dog in green grass, now when somebody with visual impairments is reading our book, by clicking this play button at the top and allowing the book to be read to them, they're not missing the photos, because in the past they would just miss the photos. They'd read all the text, but they had no idea that there was a photo going on there. All right, Phyllis, are all of these features available on the iPad version? All right, so that's a great question. So we do have some built-in accessibility features in the iPad version. So many of them are the same. There are a few differences, but most of them are the same. And the iPad, of course, has some of its own accessibility features, which makes it very different than, say, the online version, right, which is what we're using right now. So great question. All right, so here we have our accessibility text, and now we have everything great. And so again, when the book is being read, it will read the text, but then it will also say, you know, white fluffy dog in green grass, right, for the image. And so we have a better understanding of what's going on. Plus button, under the media, under import still, we have Google Maps and files and Drive, right? So you can connect files and Drive from your computer. So there might be things on your computer that you'd want to upload, PDFs, photos, video, audio. You can upload all of those from your computer directly into Book Creator, right? Which is fantastic. And then a couple of other things. Yes, Karen, thank you for mentioning that. The Google search is not available in the iPad version. All right, so you would have to go out to a separate browser to do that. Now, you can use the online version that I'm showing you today on an iPad using the Safari browser. So you could, if you hadn't purchased the app already, you could just bypass the app altogether and use the online version, and it works really well. I'll be honest, I'm an Apple guy. I love iPads. But if you took a piece of tape and covered up the browser on an iPad, you'd be hard pressed to know that you were using Book Creator not on an app. It's really, really good. All right, but the other one here under media that I really want to focus on is the embed feature. And the embed feature is great. So essentially what the embed feature does is it allows you to take content from anywhere that you have made stuff that has an embed code and put it into Book Creator. So for example, the easiest is to go to YouTube. Now it's always a little dangerous just pulling up random YouTube videos, but we're gonna give it a shot here and see what we can get. The first one that pulls up is a car video. Perfect. All right, so that's safe, and I got off there before anything bad happened. So here's my car video, and underneath the video there's a share button. If I click share, to the left there's a button that says embed. So if I click on the embed code and copy that, means absolutely nothing to me, but I go back to my book and I paste that code in there and confirm the link. Now I've got the video, I've got the link, and I have the title. I say add to book. It adds it directly to the book. And what's really nice about this is that when I click the play button, and I won't make you watch the whole video, what you'll notice is that the video starts immediately. No commercials at the beginning, no commercials at the end, no conversations underneath, and none of that sidebar on the right, which is where kids get lost in YouTube for days, right? So this is really handy. It's just the video. All right, now, other things that you can embed: Desmos calculators, Padlets, Flipgrids, Explain Everything, YouTube, Vimeo, virtual tours of Machu Picchu, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can do any of that. You can put that right into your book. And so that will help your students increase understanding, have a little bit more engagement with this. It's really good. So definitely want you to check that out. Plus button, media. The next one I want to focus on is the camera. So with the camera, you can do two things. You can take a still picture if you want, and then the same rules apply, right? You can do accessibility text, you can link it, all that good stuff. The other one is the video. So if I click record video, gives you a countdown, get out that last burp. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great day today. I just hit stop and use that video. And now that video is on my page. I can resize it, I can move it around. But what's really cool about this is if I click the inspector button, I can now add captions to that video. And so if I click add captions, I can choose to add captions in 120 different languages. Now, if I speak English, I would obviously only be able to caption in English. It doesn't translate, but I would be able to caption. If I speak Spanish, I'd be able to caption in Spanish. So I choose my caption from my menu and I hit generate automatically. And that's it. The dots will bounce. You don't have to watch the bouncing dots. You click back, you go about your business, keep working on your book. And after about 30 seconds to a minute, captions will be on this video. And so when somebody clicks play, they will now be able to read the video along with watching it. All right, so it's a really great feature. While it's continuing to think, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next thing. Another favorite tool of mine under the media tab is the pen tool. So with the pen tool, a lot of students don't like to draw, right? When they're asked to draw and things, especially if you get above like 5th or 6th grade. If you ask them to draw on a trackpad, they're even more angry, right? Because drawing on a trackpad is probably one of the worst technological experiences ever. But we have a pen here. We've got this standard set of pens that everybody's like, yeah, cool pens. But then we have this one right here called Auto Draw. And so if I click on Auto, I'm going to start drawing a bike. I'm going to show you how bad my drawing is, right? So I'm going to draw this bike here. And I'm already upset because the two bike tires are completely different. They look like deformed Krispy Kreme donuts or whatever. But as I'm making my bike, you can see that at the top of the screen, AutoDraw is trying to figure out what it is that I'm drawing. Is it a unicycle? Is it a dumbbell? Is it a toilet? Is it a tractor? What is it, right? Oh no, it's a bike. So I click on the bike I want, it fixes my drawing, and now I click this X box, and I have this really cool bike. So I can click done, and now I can draw or resize the bike, move it around, make it pop wheelies, whatever I want. So some really cool things that you can do with the auto draw. So I definitely want to recommend that you check that out. Your kids will go bananas over it. They will love it. And it just kind of, for me, it kind of helps level the playing field, because even if I'm a terrible artist, I can come up with something special. And then the other thing too, is that instead of going out and stealing stuff from the Googs, you can make your own drawings, right? You don't have to go find images and do all that stuff and worry about copyrights and things. You can just do your own little thing. All right, here's what the video looks like now. Click the video button. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great day today. And that's it. Now, if for some reason they did something wrong, I can click the inspector button, go back here to add captions, and then I can say edit captions. And if I go through and edit it, maybe they spelled my name wrong, or maybe the punctuation was incorrect or something, I can just make those changes right then and there, hit done, and that's it. I'm all set. All right. Wow, 30 minutes goes fast. All right, so we're quickly running out of time. So let me show you a couple of other things that you can do here real quick. Under the plus button, media, the record button is one of my favorites. So when I hit record, I click start recording, gives you a countdown again. Hey everybody, John Smith here. It's actually sunny in Ohio. Wait, it's not anymore. Okay, so that's the way Ohio works. All right, sunny 1 second, next second it's gone. So here's my audio button. All right, there it is. I've seen students use audio for reading fluency, soundtracks or sound effects. Teachers can use it for audio feedback for their students, right? So if students can't read, for example, and you leave comments in a Google Doc, what good does that do for them, right? They can't read it. But if you put audio in there, now you can leave audio on your page and have students make edits based on the audio. I've seen some really cool things with audio. I'm going to show you a sample here in a second. But one of the other things that we have, and I'm not going to do it because it does take a little more time, but if I click the inspector button, I can now add a transcript to that audio button. So if I click add transcript, again, I can choose the language, hit generate automatically, and now it's going to make a transcript. So again, don't watch the bouncing dots, go about your business, and eventually a new little icon will appear right here that adds a transcript to that audio button. All right, while that's doing that, I do want to show you another sample. And again, these books are all going to be available to you when you join the library, so no worries there. In our home learning webinar that we do, one of the samples that I've seen, went too fast, is some really cool ways that Book Creator can be used for home learning. And so I think this definitely fits with what we're talking about today, so I want to share this as well. So one of the examples in this book is a teacher who decided to do a read aloud for her students using Book Creator. So this teacher took a picture of all of the pages of a book called Over and Under the Snow, put those pictures into Book Creator. Now, she did reach out to the author and ask if she could do this, so we appreciate that. But she took pictures of all of the pages, put them into Book Creator, added video of herself explaining what was going to happen, questions to get their minds thinking before they read the story. We've got audio, so if you click the audio, you can hear her reading.
Over the snow I glide, into woods, frosted, fresh, and white.
All right, so how engaging would this be for students, especially in remote situations, to hear their teachers reading that story to them while they're at home? And then if you click here, there's follow-up extension activities, so many great things that you can do with Book Creator that you can help your students in all situations. And I don't even think it has to be read alouds for like just reading, right? Like I could see math, read alouds for math textbooks, read alouds for science and social studies. You can do this for anything. It just really helps your students get a deeper understanding of what's going on in the stories. All right, so P. Perkins, I think is what that name was. How can I join the library? So I'm going to put this code into the chat window for this library again one more time. It's also in the shared notes document. All right, so the shared notes document that is attached to this session. Will books be created on the iPad be available in the online version and vice versa? Great question, and the answer is no. So unfortunately, the iPad app and the online version are completely separate, and the best way to wrap your brain around that is to just focus on that. They're totally different. Now, I can take a book. So for example, in this book here, under the share button, I can download it as an EPUB. So if I download it as an EPUB, send it to an iPad, I can then open it in the Book Creator app on the iPad, but they don't sync, okay? In the same way that I did that, I could do that on the iPad. So if I had the iPad book, I could export it as an EPUB, send it to my computer, and then upload it directly into Book Creator online. So you can, it's kind of like 1980s floppy disk file sharing, right? Like that's the way it is right now. But you can certainly get books from one to the other. They just don't sync. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. And again, I just want to remind everybody, I'm sorry this was incredibly quick today, but if you do go to bookcreator.com/webinars, we have lots of webinars. We have a getting started webinar, which is like super deep into everything. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for being here. We have super deep webinars that take a deep dive into every feature of Book Creator. So I recommend checking those out. We have our home learning webinars. We've got 1 book, 1 hour webinars, lots of great things coming up. So definitely take a look at those. Now, I know that our time is running short, so I am going to go ahead and answer any other questions. So if you do have questions, if you want, you can unmute yourself, and I will go ahead and answer those. Deborah, thank you so much as well for being here. But if you do have questions, I'll be happy to answer those right now. So if you want to unmute yourself, go ahead and I'll answer those questions. If not, have a great day, everybody. Be safe out there. Happy bookmaking.